Hi, I'm Sammy, Barefoot Groove, and this is your guide to buying cajones. This is my personal cajon, and as you can see, I've got it in this sweet padded bag. Not every cajon will come with a bag, but I do suggest that as an investment. This is Tycoon Percussion's Bubinga and Makah Burl cajon. I bought this about 10 years ago, and I absolutely love it. Bubinga back and sides. I added the cajon port here, which is an additional accessory. Really enhances the sound of any cajon that has the sound hole in the back here. Okay, and with that I can still carry the cajon like this, although you got to be careful with that, as that can cause the cajon ports to slide back out of your box. Nice solid feet here, give you good ground clearance. Beautiful Makah Burl finish here. It's got kind of a satin finish to it. If you look inside there, you see that not only do we have guitar strings, but there's also some jingle bells. And you can adjust those guitar strings with those little screws down on the bottom. There's a little Allen wrench on the inside there. And you can adjust those according to if you want a tight or a sloppy snare sound. I don't hear those jingle bells in the mix most of the time. Now when I mic it, I can hear it faintly, but it doesn't come through very loud. So let's see how it sounds. One of the great things about this case, by the way, is it makes a nice little stand for my implements. So if I've got sticks or brushes or a shaker or something like that, I can zip this up and set my accessories right on top there. So here's our snare sound. Some bass, and a little groove. This is the LP Black Box Cajon. This is going to be on the more budget-friendly side. This one, let's get a zoom in there, see if you can get that mechanism, is actual snare wire. Can you see that inside the box? All right. And then these are the feet. Tiny little feet on there. And that one's all black. So it's a good height. It's kind of on the thinner side. It's not as wide as some of the other options, but that's okay. Here's our snare sound, our bass, and let's play a little groove on it. Alright, this is the LP or Latin Percussion Accent Series cajon. It's got a cool painted finish on it, and one of the notable features is the textured top here, so no worries about sliding off the back of your cajon when things get really intense. The feet are nice on this one, so you get a little bit more ground clearance and stability there. And another notable feature is the handle here, so I can grab that nice thick handle and carry that to and from wherever I'm playing. Look inside and we'll see that there's 3 sections of snare wire on this cajon. It's better if I angle it like that.
Yeah.
Okay. One other thing to note is the slightly rounded corners here, which make it a little more comfortable to play. Here's our snare sound, bass, and a little groove. I noticed in this cajon in particular, there's a lot of snare in both the bass and the snare section of the cajon. Some of you are really looking for a drier bass sound. This may not be your particular box because I hear a lot of the snare in the bass section. Some of you may know if you play drum set that anytime you hit the kick drum there is some what we call sympathetic snare buzz. Anytime you play the kick drum or the toms, or if your bass guitarist has a note that resonates with the frequency of the snare drum. So this is common in acoustic drum applications, though some cajones do have less sympathetic buzz in the bass section than others. This is another LP cajon. It's higher up in the tier than the little black box that I showed you earlier, and for several reasons. This is in the Americana series, so that's handcrafted here in the good old US of A, and it's really thick. If you want to come zoom in here, we've once again got two sections of snare wire, nice thick plywood construction. And yeah, that's a really nice box there. Let's get a shot of the corners here. Nice rounded off corners. And it doesn't have a handle, but it's solid enough to hold by the sound hole right there if you don't have a port in there. The feet leave a little bit to be desired. These are a little wimpy if you ask me. I like a little more foot in my feet. Those rounded corners make it really nice and comfortable on my hands. A lot like the LP box in width. It's not as wide, but that's okay. It's got a good comfortable height for me. Here's our snare sound. Bass. And a little groove. This cajon is from Burl, and unlike the other Burl I showed you with the all composite manufacturing, this one actually has some solid wood on it. So for you guys out there who want solid wood, this is the way to go for you if you want to stick with Burl. And you like this box. It's a painted front plate here, and nice feet. Really like these feet here. Solid and good height. Turning it over here, and notice this back plate is a little bit thin. Okay, can you see how thin that is, like in an angle there? Excuse me. Okay, and so there's a little bit of reinforcement right under that plate. If we look inside, we'll see there's two sections of fixed snare wire. Okay. Here's our open snare sound and bass and groove. So there's a little bit of sympathetic buzz from the snare section into the bass section on this cajon as well, but not as bad as some others. So it's kind of moderate, and I feel like if you're in a live playing situation, it would be negligible. You're not really going to notice that so much in this particular cajon. Okay. This is a Burl model cajon. Burl is more known for their drum sets, but they're getting into the hand percussion world, and this is a great box here. Little feet on there look pretty good. Let's look at the mechanism inside. There we have 3 sections of snare wire. Now, one of the really cool things about this, I don't know if we can get a shot of this, right there, the handle. There's a nice sturdy handle on there so that I can hold it just like that. So that's nice when you're going to and from wherever you're playing. The other thing I want to point out about this box is that it's all composite. This is like a particle board, so it's not even plywood or solid. Or so this is actually lots of particles of wood all kind of mashed, sandwiched together, so it has really great structural integrity, and that means we're not going to get a lot of resonance out of the body, but we should get, oh wow, listen to the projection out of the front plate there, that's nice. So here's our snare sound, there's our bass, nice big bass because it's so wide. That width actually has a lot to do with the bass tone in each cajon. And here's a little groove. Okay. Here is a kid's cajon, or some people think of it as a travel cajon, from Meinl. This again made in Europe, and I believe this is birch plywood on this one. I'll do some research and verify that, but this is a great little cajon, very budget friendly and space friendly. Small little feet on there, you know, which is okay for the kids. They don't need a lot of height, and those are nice non-skid feet. They just don't give you a lot of height. Inside, we'll notice that we've got a solid plywood back here, so I can literally hold the cajon by just that without worry. And inside, we've got 2 sections of fixed snare wire for our mechanism. Now let me stress, for those of you who see this online and think, oh wow, it's so cheap, I'm going to get my friend, the percussionist, or my dad, or whoever, this cheaper cajon, beware of how small it is, okay? This I truly feel is a kid's cajon, or at best, a travel cajon for someone who's not very tall. I myself am only 5'6", and this makes me feel a little bit like the bear on the unicycle. It's kind of a tiny little box here, although it's got a great tone. Just for comparison, there's a significant height difference. As well as difference in the width. So you can see that there. They don't really line up in width and height by a long shot. So when you're buying your cajon, be sure to consider the height of your cajon player. Here's our snare tone. This little box, okay? Don't get me wrong, don't let this size fool you. It's really fun to play, but if you're 6.5 feet tall, maybe not so much. Okay. This is the Bongo Cajon by Meinl, rubber wood top, okay? And if we look inside, we find 2 little sections for high tone and low tone. And this again is going to be in your very budget-friendly range. Maybe a great addition for someone who already plays bongos, or someone who already owns a cajon and is looking for some additional sounds. So just like bongos, I'm going to rest this between my knees and play with my fingers. So there's our high sound, our low sound, and a little groove. Next up is another Meinl Cajon, and this is from their Headliner series. Would reference this sort of along the same series as the LP Accent, the Aspire Accent series. Notice the nice paint job on there, beautiful color, and nice rugged feet. I really like the feet on this cajon. Now let's check this out. Notice these two screws here. Some of you may already recognize that means that unlike the other boxes I've shown so far with the fixed snare wire, these have guitar strings as the snare mechanism, and that is adjustable via the Allen wrench included. So you can actually adjust those guitar strings that sit against the front plate to be tighter or looser and control the overall sound that you get from playing this cajon. This is a more traditional way of adding snare sound to the cajon. Here's our snare sound. Really boxy, not a lot of snare in there. And now for the bass, where we get a lot of snare sound. It's really interesting. Let's play some groove on it. We'll let it dead out. Really interesting tones out of this cajon. You may notice, and this is very interesting to me, that I get almost no snare sound up in the corners where I think of getting my snare sound, which is reminiscent of the Peruvian style cajon with no strings or snares inside. And then I get all that buzz right there in the middle where my bass tone is. So very interesting, unique addition from the Meinl Headliner range. This is a cajon from Meinl's Woodcraft series, made in Europe, and Meinl is from Germany, so that makes sense that a lot of their products are made there in Germany and other parts of Europe. This one in particular is a birch body, which is beautiful, and they call this a chestnut stain on the front plate here. I believe that's a painted stain finish on the front plate here. And some noticeable features are the feet are really wimpy. Those are not my ideal feet for a cajon, you know, but those are one of the things that put this in the more budget-friendly end of the spectrum. So this is a great box. That birch is beautiful. Looking inside there, we'll note two sections of fixed snare wire. And we'll also notice that this back panel is really thick. Nice thick birch plywood there that I can hold on to and use this to carry the cajon wherever I'm going. There is another cool feature here. These are slightly rounded corners, not as deeply rounded as some other cajons, but there's still a comfort curve there that makes it nice to play on. Here's our snare tone, bass, and some groove. Lot of snare in this cajon. Okay, I would think this might be a really good flamenco cajon to my ears, you know, with all that snare in there. This is on the high end of what you're going to find in your music stores. Okay, certainly online you can find much higher end, from low end to high end. You know, there's all sorts of different features. But considering your budget, if you want to go for sort of the Cadillac or the Ferrari, even this is going to be towards that end of things for your experienced player, someone with high taste. This is the Meinl Artisan series, handcrafted in Spain. Tango line. So we've got beautiful wood grain patterns all around this box. Beautiful veneer on the front plate. One thing I will say is I'm not impressed with these feet. Once again, these are not on a cajon of this magnitude or of this prestige. I would expect some more solid feet on there. On the back here, got a nice contoured sound hole, nice and thick, so I can actually carry that on the way to the gig. And inside we have fixed guitar wire. Now if you look, you'll see 7 individual wires there.
The light. 2
groups of 3 and 1 stretched across the front there.
I'm not getting good light on this. There we go. We might have to edit that audio. You might want to repeat what you just said.
Inside you'll see that we've got 7 individual wires. There's 2 groups of 3 and then 1 stretched across horizontally. Here's our snare sound. The bass. And some groove. Wow. Now some of you are asking yourself, when you look at the price of this cajon, why would I want to spend that much on this cajon when I can get another cajon of the same size and better feed or blah blah blah, all these features for less price? Well, playability, my friends. This thing practically plays itself. I don't have to put any effort for it. As we know, we don't want to use force to play the cajon. It's about gravity. But this projects effortlessly.
What size? 14? 14. Is that all you needed?
This is the Roland El Cajon. Not the cajon, but electronic cajon. They've done to the cajon what they did for the drum set, and it's pretty cool. There's a lot of neat features in here, different sounds that you can trigger. If you check it out right on top here, we've got controls to turn it around there. Sound variation, cajon, percussion, sound effects, go up and down, tweak your sounds there. Looking on the back, of course, there's no sound hole, but there's a handle, so I can grab that and go to the gig. And then we've got our electronics panel. Now here, this one has dead batteries, and this music store did not have a power source for us to demo the actual sounds in this cajon. Another notable feature is the feet. Great feet, and boy, they better be great for $500. Excuse me, $400. This is a $400 cajon from Roland, and let's just see what it sounds like acoustically, since we don't actually have a power source right now. So with no electronics, the Roland electronic cajon sounds like this. So once again, you'll notice I get a lot of open box, almost Peruvian style cajon in the snare, or up in the corners of the cajon. A little bit of snare there, and then in the center where I expect more bass tone, I got some bass and I got a lot of snare rattle. Okay, so here's a little acoustic groove on the electronic cajon. So it actually has an okay tone without the electronics turned on, but I wouldn't take this and expect to replace an acoustic cajon. If you want this cajon, this is really designed for the electronic aspects of it. It's not going to replace your acoustic cajon sounds when your batteries die or there's no power. This is the Remo Cajon, which Remo is known for synthetic drum heads and amazing synthetic hand percussion. I personally own the Remo djembe, and it's awesome. It's weatherproof. I love it. This, on the other hand, is Crown Percussion Black Cajon. Notice we've got snare wire, or guitar strings for the snare mechanism inside, and those are vertically strung, attached with a little bit of Velcro. Nice thick back plate with a handle. You can't see it, but you can feel it when you pick it up, so you can carry that to the gig right there, just like that. These feet are feet. You know, they're okay. They're not going to give you a lot of height, and you know, they're just enough to get the box off the ground. I will note that there's no screws on the front of this cajon. Look at that. And it looks like it's all one surface. A little rounded corner action there, but not one hole in the front of that. Let's see how it sounds. So here's our snare sound. Bass. I don't hear a whole lot of the strings in that, just as a side note. I don't hear a lot of string sound. I mainly just hear box here. Notice with the finish on this particular cajon, my foot slides tend to make a lot more sound than I prefer. Oh no! We don't want that sound.
Do that again.
That sounds like there's an elephant inside this box. So it's possible to do some foot slides without that elephant honking sound, but you gotta be careful. This finish makes a big difference. Thank you so much for watching this edition of Cajon Buyer's Guide. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that now you can feel better educated towards buying the right cajon for you or the musician in your life. I hope that you'll do your part to shop local and support your local economy. Mom and pop shops especially depend on the support from local musicians. If you don't have a local music store, then go to your big box stores and see a lot of the cajons that I demonstrated in the video, maybe some others. You can also look down in the description of this video. I've included links to every cajon that I demonstrated, including the cajon port, so that you can easily find those on Amazon. You can read reviews from other people. You don't have to take my word for it. And I hope you enjoyed it. Please show me some love in the comments down below. Tell me what you liked, what you'd like to see in the future. I hope you'll subscribe, and as always, keep going barefoot. Get groovy.